What makes Resurrected horror movie franchise's continuity confusing? Imagine loving a horror series and then suddenly feeling lost because the story keeps changing every time a new film drops. That's what happens with many horror movie revivals. When studios bring back old favorites after years or even decades, they often create a jumbled timeline that leaves fans scratching their heads. Back in the 2000s, studios started realizing they could make more money by reviving these horror franchises. But instead of sticking to one clear story, they often mix things up or erase parts of the past. This is where the confusion begins. Sometimes they pretend certain sequels never happened, like in the Halloween series where some movies are ignored to reboot the story. Other times they try to combine different storylines, which can clash and create contradictions. For example, the Halloween franchise has movies that erase previous sequels and then others that pick up from different points, making it hard to know what's real. When different directors and writers work on the same franchise over many years, their visions often don't match. This leads to conflicting stories. The X-Men films are a good example. They started with standalone movies, then a new director used time travel to change the story, making some earlier movies non-canon. That means they no longer count as part of the official story. Sometimes studios promise new movies that never come out, leaving fans waiting and confused. For example, The Strangers. Chapter 1 was supposed to explain how the killers became the Strangers, but it didn't give much new information. Instead, it just reused old horror ideas. When a reboot or revival doesn't add anything new to the story, it feels pointless and makes the timeline even messier. The continuity problems get worse with films that are set in different times but contradict each other. Bumblebee, for example, was supposed to be set before the original Transformers movie, but Rise of the Beasts showed the Autobots discovering Earth years earlier, which doesn't match up. This kind of contradiction makes it impossible for fans to figure out what really happened. Long-running franchises like Godzilla have so many different versions and continuities that fans can't tell what's official anymore. There are Japanese movies, American remakes, reboots, and spin-offs, all with different stories. This makes the whole franchise feel scattered and confusing. The main reason for all this chaos is that studios want to keep the nostalgia of the original films while also trying to tell new stories. They want to please old fans and attract new ones at the same time. But trying to do both often leads to conflicting choices. They might ignore the past entirely or try to fit it into a new story, which never works perfectly. The result is a series of movies that don't seem to follow a clear path. Fans end up unsure about which films are part of the real story and which are just reboots or retellings. This confusion can make it hard to enjoy the franchise as a whole. It's like trying to follow a story that keeps changing every time you watch a new chapter. That's why resurrected horror movie franchises often feel so tangled and hard to understand.